Hi y'all, I'm Tamara and welcome to Tammy 2's Vintage. On my last video, I told you that I had spent some time up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area visiting my parents, and on that trip, my Lady Head collection grew by quite a bit. So instead of showing you those in my haul video, I felt like they deserve their own. So stay tuned and find out which beautiful ladies came home with me this time. Hey y'all! Thanks for tuning in to Tammy 2's Vintage, where I share my love of thrifting, junking, collecting, and treasure hunting, along with some adventures in reselling too. You might even get a glimpse of my crazy life on the side. Hi y'all! Let's get started and talk about Lady Head Vases. Now, some people are not familiar with that term or what it means, but Lady Heads were very popular in the 50s, some in the 40s, some later in the 60s, but they were generally a florist novelty item. A lot of them were imported from Japan, some were made in the USA, but they were not high-end pieces for the most part. If you think about it today, if you pick up a vase and you flip it over and it has FTD on the bottom, you know, the florist people, you're not thinking that's a really expensive, nice, high-end piece, right? Well, a lot of the Lady Heads were distributed through florists because they were intended to be vases to hold floral arrangements and that kind of thing. And so sometimes today when you find them, you will still find florist foam or the florist putty in them. So some people clean that out, some people leave them and still use them for floral arrangements. And one of the ladies I have today still has some fake flowers in her, so you'll see an example of that. But because of that, there's not, even though they were very widely distributed, they weren't something that a lot of people often kept. Sometimes they did. If they did keep them, the glaze and the paints were not always done to the best quality. So some of them have flaws in the glaze and the paint. Some of them were done in a way as what's called cold painting or cold glaze, which means that they were painted on top of the fire glaze, which comes off very easily. Got a couple examples of that. And they were just made in a way that there are some fragile items on them, so it's difficult to find a lot of the ladies in really good condition. So whereas most of the time I won't buy certain collectibles unless there is no damage on them, a lot of collectors of Lady Head vases are a little less particular because it is so difficult to find those vases in perfect condition. With Lady Head vases, as is the case with many collectibles, the values range very, very widely. There are some vases that are very common, and so even in good condition, you can find those at a less of a price point. I'm going to put you up. You can find those at a lower price point, whereas ones that are much harder to find, those might be hundreds or thousands of dollars if you find one in very good condition. So if you come across a Lady Head vase and you want to check prices on that specific vase, it helps if you know the maker. It also helps if you know the model number, and thankfully a lot of those vases do have the information you need printed on the bottom, so that makes it easier. All right, let's jump right in. And this cutie is actually, let me see, who is she? I can't remember who she's made by, but she actually comes in quite a few colorways. I know she comes as a blonde. I know she comes in a green version. I believe a yellow version, but she comes in several different colorways. But so I picked her up in the blue and the black this week. And you'll notice in her hand is this little thing right here. This is actually the base for an umbrella. And they call these the umbrella girls, obviously for the fact that they should be holding a little umbrella or parasol that would have a little ceramic top on it. And it is unusual to find them with the umbrella. It's very hard. So if you find the umbrella girl with her umbrella and the correct umbrella, her price is going to go up quite a bit. Now, I didn't pay a whole lot for either one of these, but they are cute just by themselves. A lot of collectors will display them as is. They might put a little balloon kind of thing or a lollipop or something else in her base of her umbrella. Some people have umbrellas that they can sell separately to replace the umbrellas. Anyway, that's her. What I'm saying is without the umbrella, that does not devalue her to the point that a collector would not purchase her. Now, unfortunately, when I got her home, I did not notice until after she was home that she had a repair right there on her hand. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see that repair, and that kind of bummed me out because I didn't notice that. I was kind of in a hurry when I picked her up, and I should have checked her over a little bit more carefully. But hands and fingers, especially fingers, are one of the places you want to check for repairs and damage on Lady Head Vases. So those are my two umbrella girls I picked up this week. So those two umbrella girls, they both came from two different antique malls that I visited. Now, this gal also came from an antique mall, and I've mentioned cold painting a while ago, and she is a good example of cold painting. Now, she did not have a lot of color on her to begin with. She had mainly just the color on her lips and her eyes, some on her flowers up here and here, but she was cold painted, so you can see most of her color has rubbed off through the ages. So I actually like her just as she is. I'm not worried about the cold painting. I think I only paid maybe $12 for her. So she wasn't very expensive, and with this particular vase, it's kind of expected to show wear. Maybe not this bad, but it's not unusual that she's missing some of her paint. Now, unfortunately, some of the harder to find gals also were cold painted. This one is from Rubens, which Rubens was a very common, Rubens did some vases, and a lot of the Rubens vases, in fact, one of the higher price Rubens vases that I'm always on the lookout for, Miss New York, is one that brings quite a high price. Now, I had never seen the purple one before, and to be honest, I'm not 100% sure she's supposed to be purple. I don't know if somebody painted over her, but you can see the wear on her hair, on her paint here, and also up here on her hair. So she's lost a bit of her color, but she is a less common vase. So I was willing to put up with a little bit more wear on her. She doesn't have chips or cracks, so that was attractive to me. She does have her original foil sticker. And she wasn't very expensive considering the wear and things. So I was quite okay paying the price for that. She also came from an antique mall. Excuse me. All right. I've got two more ladies that came from Antiques Mall. Now, she is one that I had not seen in person before. And I mentioned fingers and flowers and bows, that the lady that comes with, she's the first one I'm showing you that comes with the eyelashes that lady heads are very famous for. If you can see those, how her eyelashes stick out there with her eyes closed. Many lady heads have damage to their eyelashes. So if you find one that has all her fingers intact, her petals and her bows intact, her eyelashes intact, that's a good find. Some of them might be missing their whole hand. Some of them might be repaired. So those are all things to look for. But she is actually a Lefton. And you can see there her sticker and her number from Lefton. Now, I covered up the price tag that was on her because in this particular antique booth, the dealer had a lot of vases. She had quite a few Lady Head vases. And there was a sign that said there was a sale for 50% off all Lady Head vases. And so, of course, that caught my attention right away. And I started looking at them and then comparing some prices with the solds on eBay. And what I found was her prices at 50% off were actually pretty decent prices. The prices without the sale were much higher than I would have been comfortable paying. Now, somebody else who doesn't shop a lot of estate sales, doesn't shop online, those may have been fine prices. The antique mall overall was on a little bit what I would consider a little bit higher priced. Again, I know that antique malls are higher, and that's great. I'm excited for those vendors that they can get that for their wares, which is awesome. It's just, as the buyer I am, it's not a price I'm comfortable paying because I do have the time and resources to go out and source from other places. That's one of the things that I think is interesting when people start comparing prices on different items, because, you know, we go out as resellers, we go out and we source things. We never know what we're going to find when we go to a yard sale or we go to a thrift store or the estate sales. And if you really want a certain item at an estate sale, you got to get there really early. And you may have to wait for an hour or two, you know, at the crack of dawn to get in and get in line. And so those are things that as resellers, we provide a service because we go out and do that and hunt for the treasures and bring them back and post them online, put them in an antique booth, that kind of thing. And I do feel that sellers and resellers should be paid for their time. So I don't want to come across as that being a critique of the prices. Because I said they were a little bit higher than I was comfortable paying. I think those sellers definitely deserve those prices for the sellers, and they provide that service for the sellers that want to just come into the antique store and find a gorgeous piece. So anyway, this lady right here came from that booth, and I will say this also, most of the items in her booth were in great condition. So she was very particular about the items that she sourced. I'm sure it took quite a bit of time to source those vases in that condition. So no critique at all of the prices. But anyway, she has kind of a pearlescent sheen, almost a lusterware look to her white glaze, which I thought was really just pretty and very unusual. You don't see that glaze, that pearlescent glaze on many Lady Head vases. So this Lefton came home with me. And now this one's kind of funny because this is the last lady that I bought at the antique store in Grapevine. And she's the last one I picked up, and I just kind of grabbed her as an afterthought. She wasn't super expensive. And after I got back to my mom and dad's, I started thinking, I'm like, she looks really familiar. I think I may already have her. And sure enough, I already have her. She is a duplicate in my collection. So I need to find a way to figure out how to keep track of my lady heads a little bit better. I can't remember the company that made hers. It's not one of the more common companies that make Lady Head vases, but I do think she's very pretty. I love the little ruffle outfit she has on in the green. I like the way her glaze is done. To me, the way her painting is done is reminiscent of this the porcelain dolls that had the heads and the arms and the legs with the soft bodies that were older. So I really like her face. Maybe that's why I picked her up twice, because I really liked her. So now we'll talk about the ladies that I got from estate sales. The first two ladies I didn't actually get on the trip to my mother's house, but I did get them at an online auction for an estate sale, and they were here when I got back. So I put them into this haul video so you could see them. The first one is this lady right here, and I thought she was just gorgeous. She's described as a teen. Her face does have that kind of youthful look to her. She does have her pearl necklace, which is very common with many lady heads. Unfortunately, she is missing part of her earring. Again, that's very common. It's not necessarily something that's going to throw off collectors, because you can replace them. There are people online that sell replacements. I've experimented with doing some replacements just from costume jewelry pieces that I have picked up. I picked up some costume pearls so I could take them apart and make lady head replacements. But otherwise, she's in pretty good condition. I will say though, she does seem to have a crack right here that has been painted over. And that alerted to me to think that maybe this color, this kind of very dark teal, very dark, almost peacock color, maybe not original, because it does look like the crack was covered up with that color paint and then the bottom was painted over. But I don't think it detracts from her, and it makes her display very well, so I'm not too disappointed, especially because I only paid like, I think 20 or 25. One of them was 20, one was 25, which is a very good price for these heads. And by the way, she is from Parma. She still has her gold sticker and her label there. Made in Japan. All right. And then this gorgeous lady, she is also from the same online auction, and I think she was the one that was 25, but she often has damage to her fingers, so finding her without damage to her fingers or damage to her eyelashes was quite exciting. I really love her. Again, unfortunately, she is missing her earrings, so I do need to get her a new set of earrings, and she does have all her petals intact. And all of her paint is in very good condition. She does need a little bit of cleaning up, but overall not bad at all. And in this condition, she's definitely worth more than the $25 I paid for her. So I was excited. And by the way, she is from Napco Wear. Again, she still has her original sticker, and she has the print with her number and all on the bottom, which makes it really nice. All right. Now this is the one I was talking about, how people use them for vases. So this little lady still has her flowers in her hair. She's got some florist foam stuck in there, you can see, and these little bits of net. But she is one I picked up at the estate sale. Unfortunately, she does have a pretty giant chip out of one of those eyelashes, which is sad, but she was only she was marked $12, and I think I ended up paying even less than that for her. But she does have her jewelry intact, so you can see what the earrings on the other ladies that are missing part of their earrings, what their earrings should look like. She does have a little bow back here that is not chipped. And this bow on her outfit is intact as well. So even though she had that chip on the eyelash for $12, I thought she was a very decent price, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to have that eyelash repaired or just leave her as is. Again, I do need to clean her up. She's got that little bit of marker on her face. I need to take off that beauty mark. And anyway, I think she's very lovely. Now this one is a little bit unusual because she is a smaller size and has a little bit different look about her. She was an estate sale find, and I actually did not get to this sale the first day, so the second day when I got there, everything was 25% off. So I only paid $15 for her, which is a great price. And she is all intact. Her eyelashes do not have any chips. She's in great condition. Her bottom is very clean. She does have her little stamped mark there, and she's just lovely. I really, really liked her, but she's small, just a smaller size. You can see how much smaller she is than some of the other ones. And just so you know that some of these ladies come in many different sizes. I've seen some that are up to about an 11-inch size all the way down to 2 or 3 inches in size. And some of the same models come in different sizes and different colorways, like the 2 girls we saw in the beginning. I do know that this one, she comes in several different colorways as well. I know that the one in purple, I know she does. So even though a collector has one color, many times they'll go ahead and pick up the other colorways that are matching as well. So just because they have one style doesn't mean that they wouldn't be interested in the same vase in a different size or different color. So I saved what I consider the best for last. This one I was super excited about because she is somewhat hard to find. She's a desirable piece. Some Lady Head vases are based on famous actresses, famous people, and that's the example with this one. So this one is actually considered Jacqueline Kennedy, and with the headscarf, this is Jackie in mourning after JFK was shot. It was based on a picture that was taken. And this is the white version, which is a little bit less expensive from the research I've done than the one that is full colored. The one that's full colored is more like this. But still, it is a very desirable vase for collectors. And I think she was $25. She was much less than I had anticipated paying for her. But she is from Inarco, has her stamp there on the bottom. I guess this foil stamp may be from a dealer that had her at one time, but she's in excellent shape. She has absolutely no chips or cracks. You can see her hand is just in beautiful shape. And I will say I was a little bit skeptical before I went to the sale because I wasn't sure how I would like the white version of her. It didn't appeal to me quite as much as the full color version did, but after I got there and I saw her in person, this vase is amazing. To me, it is very reminiscent of a Greek sculpture, or one of the famous sculptures that you see in Europe. The alabaster, it almost has an alabaster look to it, and she's just gorgeous. And so I was really glad that I did go ahead and go to the sale where I saw her and I picked her up. So that is my last Lady Head, and that's who came home with me from the Dallas-Fort Worth area and will be added to my collection soon. And we have a photo bomber here. So Tilly wanted to say hello. Yeah, you cannot have the ladies. No, you can't. So anyway, if you enjoyed video and liked seeing all my Lady Head vases, please make sure you like, comment, let me know which one was your favorite, if it was the Jackie Kennedy vase or maybe one of the other ones. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of Tammy 2's vintage. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.